Hi, today I'm going to present about types of probability sampling. There are 4 types of probability sampling: simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, and systematic sampling. First of all, I'm going to start off with simple random sampling, which is also known as SRS. In this sampling process, everybody have the same chance of being selected. Let's take an example of a call center. I have 30 people working in a call center and they're all very good performance. From the head office, I have received 3 gift cards. So now how I'm going to decide who should I give the gift card to? I'm going to ask these 30 people to write down their names on a piece of paper, and I'm going to put all these pieces of paper, 30 names, in a box. And I'm going to shuffle this box. I'm going to randomly select 3 names, and then I'm going to give the gift card to those 3 people. So this is called simple random sample. So now we're going to talk about stratified sampling. In stratified sampling, we divide the population into different homogeneous subgroups which are called strata. We take from each strata SRS and put them together in one sample. Why do we use stratified sampling? We use stratified sampling when subpopulation and overall population vary. It is advantageous to sample each subpopulation independently. So now let's take an example of stratified sampling. Let's take an example of a class with 100 students. We want to take a sample of 10 students of a 100 student class. We have 70 boys in this class and we have 30 girls in this class. The question is, how many people like wrestling? So if we do the SRS in this scenario, we might get different ratio of boys and girls. For example, we might get 6 boys and 4 girls. That will impact the result because it's a different ratio. So in this kind of cases, we will perform stratified sampling. We will divide a boys group and a girls group into 2 stratas. We're going to call strata 1 to boys group and strata 2 for girls group. So now out of 70 boys, we are going to take SRS of 7 boys, and out of 30 girls, we're going to take an SRS of 3 girls. So when we are going to mix them together, we have a total of 10. Now and then talk about cluster sampling. In this sampling method, we divide the population into separate groups, and we call these groups clusters. Then we use simple random sample method to select SRS of clusters from the population. The simple we will get is called cluster sample. It works when all clusters are a good representation of the whole population. Let's take an example of a call center again. We are performing a call center evaluation. So we have 4 rows in a call center. We are going to call each row cluster. Let's say we have a cluster 1, cluster 2, cluster 3, and cluster 4. All these people are performing a similar role. So now we are going to use SRS method to select a random cluster. So let's say if we select cluster 1 and then we select cluster 2. We're going to mix them together and we're going to take the interview from both clusters. So now we have a cluster. Now I'm going to talk about systematic sampling. In this sampling method, we will create a frame. We will calculate the sampling interval k, choose a random starting point, and then take every kth case. Let me give you an example of systematic sampling. Let's say if I work in a factory and I have a row of products lined up from 1 to 1000. I need a sample of 10 products. So in this case, I'm going to use systematic sampling. So how systematic sampling works in this case is that I'm going to choose a random radiant, which let's say if I choose a random radiant which is 435. Now I will have to choose an interval to make sure if I get the right results. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a formula. And in this formula, we're going to choose increase is equal to total population divided by number of sample. So my total population is 1000 and the number of sample I need is 10. So I'm going to divide 1000 by 10 and it comes up to 100. So my interval is going to be 100. So now if my random point is 435, then my next sample is going to be my interval, which is 100 difference, which is going to be 535. The next is going to be 635. 735, 835, 935, 35, 135, and so on. And now I have my 10 product sample, and this is called systematic sample.